Hi, my name is Jennifer Nanny, and I'm the Director of Alumni Relations here at UNT Health Science Center. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Paul Saenz, TCOM Alumnus. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Before we get started, how are you doing?
Good morning, Jennifer. I'm doing good. Yeah, just a beautiful Monday morning here in San Antonio, and with all of our pandemic rescheduling of our offices and so forth, it's kind of a nice thing that Monday mornings I'm off, and but I will be heading to clinic in just a few hours.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day off to let us get to know you more and spend time with us. So just kicking it off, tell me a little bit about when did you graduate, where did you complete your residency, where did you do your fellowship, and how long have you been in practice?
Wow, well, golly, you're taking me down memory lane, but I graduated from TCOM in 1986. And, you know, that was back in the day when you could go and do rotating internships. The curriculums and ACGME guidelines were just a little different back then. But from TCOM, I went off to Phoenix General Hospital, which at the time was really one of the most sought after internships around the country. And landed there and did my family practice general medicine training at Phoenix General. And then I applied for a sports medicine fellowship in Seattle and was very anxious to go there and work under the tutelage of physicians who took care of the Seattle Mariners baseball team. I was always a baseball guy growing up my whole life. And so I was like a kid in a candy store getting to train with a Major League Baseball team. And I returned to San Antonio in 1988, and I established myself really as the city's first fellowship trained sports medicine physician. And now have this October will be in practice starting my 31st year.
Wow, that is quite a career, and one that I personally have enjoyed following since I've been at the Health Science Center. So I think that's great that you got to kind of live out your dream starting out in Seattle. So, and it's taken you so far. So thank you for that. So how did TCOM or TCOM prepare you for residency and beyond? And how did your education prepare you for the board exams?
Well, you know, TCOM has really had high standards in the osteopathic medical school divisions for years and years, and of course continues to maintain those with very high marks each year. Has been recognized nationally as the outstanding leading osteopathic medical school in the country, primarily based on the success of students, graduating students, and board exams. And you know, medical school is all about being prepared for the next phase, in which now you're truly a doctor, and now you have truly joined the ranks of the profession. And I was at a very, very challenging internship and residency program there in Phoenix, and it had a lot of the nation's top residents there, and I really felt so well prepared. And again, back in that day, there were rotating internships. You didn't walk right into a residency. You did a little bit of everything. You delivered babies, and you did general surgery rotations, and internal medicine was heavy there. And I just really felt very well prepared, even though I was with really some of the strongest residents in the country. Again, it was a very sought after postgraduate training facility. And, you know, board exams are just, you know, part of what every physician has to go through and struggle with. And they're never easy, but I can tell you that I was fortunate enough to pass all of my board exams first time around. So, and to be honest with you, all the training programs that are there to prepare medical students and residents for their board exams, they weren't all there. You had to kind of rely on what you learned in medical school, and there weren't all the courses that you could take in preparation. So me and my classmates all did very well. We were all very successful upon completion of our boards.
I'm so glad to hear that. And I feel like every time we run across students, especially second years, we hear preparing for my boards. And so it's great that TCOM prepared you for that and you were able to pass it the first time. So I'm going to back it up a little bit further, but tell me why you chose TCOM. Out of any school, how did you know that TCOM was the best fit for you?
Well, I actually had probably just a little atypical past in that I went to undergraduate school, of course, and was actually pre-dental and actually got into dental school. So I spent my first 2 years after my undergraduate college years in dental school. And, after the second year of dentistry, I just really realized that wasn't the profession that I had a burning desire to partake in and be a part of the rest of my life. And it was really a year of reflection, and I applied to medical school, and I interviewed at some allopathic medical schools and then interviewed at TCOM. And first of all, the interview process just really felt so welcoming. I was told at one of the places where I interviewed that was I career hopping? Was I going to next jump into the legal profession? Because I really didn't know what I wanted to do yet. And at TCOM, it was the people that interviewed me that said, you really should be very well prepared for a medical school curriculum, having spent 2 years already, having gone through the rigors of postgraduate education. Dental school is no cakewalk either in terms of basic science study and so forth. And so I really was very well prepared. But really, I will tell you, probably the single most important thing was hearing the name Wayne English. And if you go back and you look at the faculty that was present when I was there in 1986, there was a physiatrist, physical medicine rehab specialist, who is specializing in sports medicine. And he just profoundly influenced my career. And he was on faculty there. And when I heard he did sports medicine, I said, wow, this is a profession that combines the love of sports with the love of medicine. And I said, this sounds like a hand in glove kind of relationship for me. And so I spent every rotation that I could under his tutelage. And sports medicine was often going at TCOM, and we established a sports medicine club. And it really was the beginning of just an unbelievable marriage with what was my true passions in medicine and sports. And I've just had a storybook career. I just, I pinch myself all the time. And I'm so grateful that I received the opportunity at the Texas College of Osteopathic Medicine, that they welcomed me with open arms. And I just feel like I'm totally indebted to that education I received there and to the osteopathic profession for allowing me to work with Olympic athletes, professional athletes, experience NBA championships, travel around the world with various national teams. And like I said, it's just a storybook sometimes. And my wife and I just realized how fortunate we were to have this career.
Well, we are so grateful that you chose us, because it's been wonderful to kind of watch, at least as long as I've been here, how well you've done in your career. And establishing the sports medicine group, that's still a very active group on campus today. So thank you for doing that. So it sounds like you had some really great memories during your time at TCOM. But if you could go back and think about your favorite memory, what would you say it was? And if you have more than one, that's totally fine too.
Favorite memories certainly has to do with friendships, the friendships that you establish in your study groups and so forth. And these are people that I still pick up the phone and talk to or text with on a pretty regular basis. And the group that we got together with and really grilled each other the night before, we'd sit around and just ask each other questions that we thought were coming. And I'm a social person, and when we got a chance to let loose, we let loose a little bit. So those memories were just great ones, and those friendships. During my probably during our last year, there was a talent show that the medical school would invite the students to be a part of, and And golly, they put us on stage somewhere, you know, for Will Rogers or someplace like that. And so with the use of strobe lights, me and let me see, two other of my classmates all had our stage names. I was Paul Vital Signs, and the other guys were you know, made up their stage names. And again, with the help of strobe lights, we danced to a Michael Jackson song where the moonwalk was popular back then. So we wore parachute pants, and then we had scrubs on, and we were called the Osteo Breakers. So we did break dance and took first place. So it was enjoyed by all, and it was a whole lot of fun, and gave us a chance to let our hair down a little bit and act a little funny. And great time. Won't forget that.
That's awesome. You know,
And I think, believe it or not, I think that picture is in the 50th year anniversary annals, you know, that the school has put together.
I was going to say, I think I have to go back, but if I'm not mistaken, I think there is a photo of you from that talent show.
I think so, unfortunately.
No, I would say, you know, it's fortunate for us that we still have that documented. So no, that's a great memory. I don't think they do the talent show anymore, but there is a thing they do called Mr. TCOM. So maybe that talent.
You know what I really think it's a testimony to, though? I think it's a testimony to the togetherness and family feel that you have when you are a student at TCOM. The faculty welcomes you. They realize that medical school is an arduous process, and there are a number of events that are sponsored by the school that just bring the UNT Health Science Center together as a family.
Absolutely. We always feel like it's a family atmosphere here. And even though, you know, our office is a little bit separated from the students, every time we get the opportunity to interact with them, it definitely has that family feel. And then when we get to bring alumni back to interact with the students, you can just see that camaraderie that everyone has and that kind of bond that they'll have forever. So one last question, because I know I've asked you a few. If you could provide any advice to an incoming student, what would it be?
Well, I think that, you know, of course, the application process is challenging in and of itself. You know, students have to take a lot of time to really reflect that their personal statement reflects their real desire to enter into the medical profession, because first and foremost, that is a huge step, just going through that application process. And then once you've received that letter, and you can't stop smiling for months on end because you got that letter that says you're getting the opportunity to go to medical school, it really, I think, becomes time management. It really does, because there is no undergraduate curriculum really, I think, that will compare to the volume of information that you're responsible for learning. And it's challenging, but you've got to really just be organized, and you have to realize what works for you. And what works for you may not work for a single other student. Some people study better alone. Some people study better in study groups. But nonetheless, it's organization of time. And don't forget to make a little time for yourself, because everybody really needs to have that mental and spiritual wellness. And it's part of the osteopathic principles to be mindful of that. So whether it's going off and sitting in the park and staring at the clouds, letting the sun hit your face, going for a run, playing a pickup game of basketball, whatever it is that allows you to have a little stress release, I think that's really something to keep in mind as well. Super important.
I think that is great advice. Time management, everyone benefits from that. And then, of course, you have to take time for yourself. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much again for your time today. I really appreciated getting to learn more about you, and again, taking time out of your morning off. But if there's any other last advice you'd like to share, feel free. If not, thank you again so much. We really appreciate you and all that you do for the osteopathic profession. profession?
I just would say that, you know, it's hard for a medical student to know where they're going to be 25 years later, because right now the focus is, you know, how do I get to my first year and get on to the second and then beyond. But it it really is very gratifying to be at this stage in my career and to be able to be involved with my alma mater and to teach medical students who come from Fort Worth to do elective rotations with me. I just don't say no to TCOM students that want to come rotate with us. So you're always welcome here in San Antonio. You've got a place to come learn a little sports medicine.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Saenz. It was great to see you today. Students, if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us at alumni@unthsc.edu. We hope you enjoyed this interview, and we look forward to seeing you on campus soon.